Welcome, David, to Metaladium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about from In Aeternam, this new album of Death and Fire, and more things related to the metal world in general. So we started by asking, how are you doing today, and how is the band the last couple of years? Because your previous EP was released in 2016.
Yeah, well, feeling pretty good. Been busy for the last year doing the new album, of course, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Just bumped into the old guitar player after we stopped everything with the band back in, I think it was early 2018 or something. And we didn't do anything with the band up until 2024. And I bumped into Daniel, the old guitar player from Dawn of a New Eon, that record 20 years ago. So we just started talking and said, fuck it, let's do some music and see where it goes. And so that's what we did. Just started, making riffs, trying out different things in his home studio. And once we were finished with all that, we went straight into the actual recording of the album. And during this process, we got contacted by Soul Cellar Records. So actually from the beginning, we didn't even have a record label. So this was all about creating music again, like we did 20 years ago. And, trying to recapture what we used to do back in the days. And I think it turned out pretty good.
Okay. And one question I think is a common one during the recent interviews, because your new album of Death and Fire is your first full length in over 21 years. So what was the primary catalyst for finally breaking the hibernation and returning to the studio with a new album in 2026?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I had a really bad motorcycle accident. And that was at the time that we released the last mini CD. And so we tried out, I still have serious problems with my back and neck. But we kept on doing the band from 2016 till 2018, doing a few shows. But it came to a point where I had to stop playing. And after all these years, I feel a little bit better. I still got problems, like I said. But when I met Daniel and we started talking, it was just like everything fell into place once again. And it's like time was standing still. And we picked up where we left off when he quit the band. I think it was 2006. So it just came very natural, everything. And writing music together and putting everything together was really, really easy because we're all much older. We got wiser on some parts. Of course, we're still fucked in the head, but we grew up. So it was easier to work together because 20 years ago, we were pretty young. We all wanted to do our thing. And now it's like, okay, we know what to do. We didn't have to question anything. We just went with everything that came up. We tried all kinds of stuff that we probably wouldn't have done 20 years ago. So, well, very, very easy to work with this.
Okay, interesting. So, talking about the classic lineup for this, you be reunited in 2005, lineup with Daniel Sadlin and Perra Carlson for this release also. So how did it feel to step back into rehearsal room with this specific group after 2 decades?
To be honest, we haven't even been in a rehearsal room yet.
Okay.
This is the thing. With the modern technology that we have now, it was like me and Daniel we spent so much time in his home studio doing the pre-productions, and we kind of, we set a pace on the songs, recorded drums and bass, and we sent it over to Para so he could, get his point of view on the speed of the songs and everything, and do his thing with the drums. So we're sending files back and forth, and when it came down to actually recording, we had all these songs already recorded with both Para's drums and also computer drums that we were working with to get the songs finalized. But like I said, Para was also recording drums at his home studio to the stuff we recorded in Daniel's home studio. And then when it came down for the album, we went down to Studio Cave. That's the guitar player from Kasiurol, an old Swedish band. So we recorded all the drums in his studio, and then we kept on recording everything else with Daniel's studio, and sent everything off to Canada for the mixing and mastering to Gord Olson. Mm-hmm. Very good guy. I think he's done a tremendous job with the sound. So we're still right now we're trying to find a weekend where we're going to be rehearsing for the first time with this lineup for 21 years. And we picked out a few songs that we're going to try out, and we still need to get a bass player, of course. We got a few people that we're going to talk to, and then start rehearsing properly and get ready to do some shows after the summer. Maybe earlier, but at least after the summer.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Nice. So now, well, during the creating process with this album, you mentioned pouring like blood, sweat, and tears into this new record. So compared to your early works like Forever Blasphemy, how has your approach to songwriting evolved while maintaining that ripping Swedish Black Death sound?
Well, so some parts of this of the new album, I would say, is very close to the Forever Blasphemy album, and some parts on the Pestilent Plague album. So it has a lot of melodies, and I think if you look at the last couple of mini CDs, I would say they've been a bit more brutal than we used to be on the old records. So with this new one, it's more. This is like what everyone says, but it's more like back to the roots kind of thing, but still with new inputs, because some of the songs we have on the new album are the heaviest that we've ever done. And I mean, when we did the third album, Nuclear Armageddon, the title track was pretty heavy on that one, but it still had some blast beats on that one. Now we got some really heavy songs with no blast beats, no fast parts, just a really groovy sound, a bit like the heavy songs from Morbid Angels, Domination, kind of thing. And so it's just a natural thing. I mean, we become better musicians as well. Maybe not me, because I haven't been playing much guitar for the past 6 or 7 years. But the other guys have been playing all along. Daniel has been playing in different bands. He's a good guitar player. Para, his work from all kinds of bands. So I mean, those are the guys that can actually play properly. Compared to them, I would say I'm just a fucking amateur. I can still write music, but I'm just a rhythm guitar player. So, but everything has evolved. The vocals, I would say, is the best I've ever done. We put a lot of effort into getting the vocals really, really good on this one. So, and that's also thanks to the possibility of working in a home studio where we could try different things with the vocals. And we've done some really funny tryouts with the vocals. You know, they didn't turn out good, but we had a good laugh when we listened to it. So what you hear on the album, that's, you know, that's a process that we've had for 1 year to get everything properly done.
Okay, I understand. Amazing, amazing. So now on the new album, you are features like Eric Danielson from Watain. So on the track to those who have wrote on. So can you tell us about the significance of this collaboration and how can it be to be?
Oh, that song is one of the first songs that we recorded some music for, and I think it was me who came up with the kind of the lead riff in that one, and we weren't too sure if we were gonna do it because it was so out of In Aeternam's safe space when it comes to making music. But we recorded that one. Daniel came up with some other stuff, and we started putting everything together. And the more we worked on that song, the better it became. And we kind of realized that the whole feeling of the song was like Bathory from the Hammerheart Twilight of the Gods era, sort of. And that felt really good. So we recorded everything except the acoustic parts. And then a couple of weeks when we finished the song, Daniel phones me up and says, "Hey, listen, I got a really cool acoustic intro to this one." So he put that on, mixed it together, put on some, I'm not sure, some rain and stuff like that in the background to create this feeling. I said, "Fuck, this is really good." But we still weren't too sure if we could pull it off properly. But in the end, we said, "Okay, let's go for it," because everyone loved it. We thought it was a really good song. And I said, "Okay, the lyrics for this one," I said, "this has to be like a tribute to everyone who has passed on and went to the afterlife." Mm-hmm. And I figured, who would be the one to write this lyric? So I contacted Eric from Watain, because you know he wrote the Seven Storms of Doom lyric to the last album. So, and I figured that would be a kind of way to close the circle for us with this album by having him as well. So I said, "Listen, Eric, this is what it's about. I want the lyrics to be about, you know, showing appreciation to those who moved on and really make it a tribute to them. And at the same time, I would say it's a tribute to Bathory and that particular era with Hammerheart and Twilight of the Gods." And so Eric wrote the lyrics. He even put down the vocal lines for it. And we all loved it. So I copied what he did. And when that was done, I phoned him up and said, "Hey, do you think you can do some guest vocals on this one as well?" So we managed to squeeze that in. So he recorded vocals at a local studio in Uppsala, I think. So, and then he sent it over, and we used some of that on the song. So I think it turned out really good. I always get goosebumps when I listen to it because it's a very, very personal song to me and to the rest of the guys in the band. So it's a very good ending to the whole album to listen to that one.
Okay, interesting point. Now, your recent single, The Hourglass, has a distinct sense of memento mori. So how does this track set in the tone of the rest of the new album of Death and Fire?
You mean the song? How it?
Well, the sing
Say it again.
Girl, how does this track set the tone or for the rest of
Yeah.
the new album?
Well, it's one of the faster songs on the album, and I would say it has a lot of classic in Aeternam stuff on it. It's still very fast, but it's got a lot of melodies, and you got some great hooks in the song. We're actually like, oh, what the fuck happened there? You know, it's like, wow, that was cool, stuff like that. So I think it's a very good representation of the album's fast songs, kind of. And I love it because, you know, the hourglass is all about, you know, life is running out for each and every one of us. So we all have to do what we got to do before it's over. So, and I think the whole death theme of the album is very, it's very, should I say, it's very fitting on that song because we're all gonna die someday. Maybe some of us will live on in another world after this, but we're all gonna die. And that's pretty much what the hourglass is about. We're all gonna die sooner or later.
Okay.
But it's a good representation because I think it has all the you know all the in Aeternam classic things that we had in the past, and also some of the newer stuff that we did. So it's a good one.
Okay. Now, all the artwork for this new album was handled by Billion Necro Arts. So, how does this visual aesthetic of the cover art reflect by the lyrical journey of from the tracks like Dance Macabre or Beneath the Darkened Tomb or the previous one, Hourglass?
Well, I mean, it's a classic one. We got the Grim Reaper on the front. The album is called Of Death and Darkness. The whole album is a tribute to death in various ways. So using the Grim Reaper as the cover pretty much sums up everything about the album. It's a hymn to death. That's what it's about. Everything is about death on this album. And I was talking to someone and they said, so you used the Grim Reaper for the second time? Because we had the Grim Reaper on the Pestilent Plague as well. But so maybe that was a mistake, I don't know, but I really love the cover. And it's an album cover that you're going to remember. If you see it, you're going to know, oh, fuck, that's in Aeternam. It's going to stick in your head that, you know, it's very easy to recognize it, just like the Forever Blasphemy one, the Pestilent Plague. We just wanted a figure, one figure to represent the whole album. And I couldn't come up with anything better than using the Grim Reaper once again. The background is a bit different from the old albums, of course, but it still sums up everything about it.
Okay. Now, well, talking about more the live presentation, especially for the futures and this for the first. So now, what kind of plans do you have for this new album? Perhaps you will do more tours. Will you perhaps release more videos? Who knows? Or perhaps you are already working on a new album because when an album came from 21 years, now you are preparing a lot of material for a new album also. So, what kind of plans do you have for In Aeternam and this new album?
Right now, the album gets released on the 6th of February, which is like 2 weeks away. Actually, something like that. And so right now we're just trying to, like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna rehearse. We picked out 2 new songs, 2 old ones. We're gonna try them out. We're gonna find a bass player. We're going to set a good live set and try to be ready as soon as we can, of course, to do some shows. So the plan is get the album out, see who wants to book us, and to, if you want to look at it realistically, I would say that around May, June probably is the time when we're going to be completely ready to be standing on the stage again, because that's the plan we have. We want to get out and play again. We want to play Europe, of course, since we live here, but it would be really nice to go to South America. We did play in the States back in 2000, but that's not going to happen anymore because I can't get into the country. So I'm totally banned from the States. I'm banned from Canada, so that's out of the question. But South America is not a problem. The rest of the world is not a problem. So it would be really nice to get out and see some new countries this time around. So we plan on doing as many gigs as we can. As long as we get a good offer, then we're going to come and play. That's for sure.
Okay.
But we also want to do, we want to do it really good, because I don't want people to come and say, oh, look at these guys. They're fucking 50 years old and they can't deliver on stage. That's not what I want to hear when I go up on stage. I want people to remember it. They're supposed to go home after the gig and say, fuck, that was brutal. Look at these guys. They've been around for over 30 years and they still kick fucking ass. That's what I want to hear. And that's why we need to do it really, really good. And that's not going to be a problem if we do it properly in the rehearsal room.
Okay, nice. So now, well, more talking about more especially for the live rituals for the 2026. Well, in the past, you share stories about the rictus indignation of the stage presentation. So, like the infamous hair behind the ears incident, especially. So, what is the in Aeternam live ritual going to look like in 2026?
Whoa. It's going to be some fucking gray-haired people. I still got no hair, of course, but still gray in the beard and the mustache. Daniel still got his hair, so that's good. So he can headbang all along. But I don't think much have changed. I mean, we're still going to go up wearing our old studded leathers and spikes and all that shit. It's not going to be like you will see us in a fucking t-shirt and like you see us at the grocery store or something. We want to put on a good show. We haven't changed in that way. I guess you've seen the promo photos that we did. So I guess that's what you're going to see live on stage. Nothing has changed in that way. So just expect brutality and some good fucking music coming out of the speakers and some brutal looking old guys ripping the stage up pretty much.
Okay. Now, I understand. So with the Stockholm Extreme Sounds 2026 and other events on the horizon, so how are you preparing your set list to balance the 2026 material with the classics songs, especially from the Forever Blasphemy?
Well, in the past, the last shows that we did back in 2016 till 2018, we used to play Reaper in Black and Majesty of Fire from the first album. Right now, we still have Reaper in Black in the set list. Pretty sure we're going to be bringing up some more songs from the first one. I know Daniel wants to play When the Vultures Left from that one. I love that song as well. So maybe that's the one we're going to be putting in to the set list. I'm not too sure. We haven't discussed the set list that much, but I guess we're going to be picking at least one song from the Pestilent Plague as well. At least one or two from at least one from Nuclear Armageddon, I would say. Probably one or two from Dawn of a New Eon, 2 or 3 from the new one. It all depends, you know. We haven't really thought about it. So right now, like I said, we picked out Reaper in Black. We're gonna do Pactum Diaboli from Dawn of a New Eon, and then Beneath the Darkened Tomb and Goddess of Abominations. Those are the 4 songs that we're going to be trying out in the rehearsal room in the next couple of weeks. So then if that turns out good, then we have to sit down and, you know, make our own personal lists of what kind of songs we want to be playing. So, and we know, I mean, this is going to be the 5th album. We got a few mini CDs, but to be honest, I don't think we're going to be picking any songs from the mini CDs that we did lately. It's going to be songs from the albums, some classic ones, of course, and then we'll pick and choose from the other 3 albums and see where we're going to end up. You know, it's still very early in the stages of getting it done. So, but those are the 4 songs we're working on right now to rehearse.
Okay, I understand. So now let's talk about more the history, the evolution, and other kind of things into the metal, especially from you, and also the more things related to the metal world. So you were founded in the early 90s, originally as Behemoth. So during the peak, the street is death metal, and now then you decide to change for the melodic black, for the explosion, for this section, and more bands. So how do you view the current 2026 extreme metal scene compared to those early years?
Well, I mean, back in the 90s, everyone was so young. Everything was new. There was a whole new scene being built in the 90s. There was a lot of black metal coming from Norway. Not that many from Sweden, perhaps, but still, you had all these bands. You had the Section, At the Gates, Sacramentum, Lord Belial, all kinds of bands. There were shitloads. And back then, everyone knew each other because the scene was pretty small. Mm-hmm. So everyone was hanging out back in the 90s with each other. We went to the same festivals, the same gigs. We played with a lot of the bands on different festivals in Sweden and in Europe as a whole. You know, a lot of festivals in Germany, for example. So it was like, back then it was more like a big fucking party with friends. Nowadays, the scene has changed a bit, of course. I mean, we're all much older. You know, back in those days, we were like 20, 25 or something. Now all of us are in, you know, late 40s, early 50s, stuff like that. So, so to see, I think everyone still knows each other, but I don't think everyone hangs out that much. We don't hang out with anybody. Mm-hmm. Still in contact with a lot of, you know, the old friends from the past, of course. But nowadays, you know, you got a job that you got to maintain. A lot of people, they got families, kids, wives, girlfriends, whatever. So in that sense, it's a bit different. It's not like you can go out for a show on a Friday and come home on a Sunday still drunk, you know. So that's pretty much what changed. But if we talk about the scene in general with bands and stuff like that, I would say that the scene is very much growing, and it's a very good scene. There's a lot of bands. Especially, I can only speak for Sweden, of course, but we got loads of good bands coming out from all kinds of places in this country, and it feels really good to see them. And you know, I've seen a few young ones in my hometown, And it's like when you look at them, they're like 16 to 18 years old, and you see the energy that they have, and you see how they develop their musician skills. And it's fucking amazing to see that, because it reminds me of how it used to be when I started out playing in the early 90s. Because on the first couple of songs that you made, you weren't that good. You could hardly play your instrument. But as the years passed, you made better and better songs. And this is what I see with these the young kids that play in bands, that you see them. For example, you see them in January playing a few shows, and you think, oh, this is pretty good, but it's not that tight. The musicianship is probably not the best, but the aggression, the feeling, everything is like you're listening to old Sodom or old Destruction or something. And then you see them 6 to 8 months later, and you realize that these guys, they developed and they can actually play, and they've done some fucking brilliant songs. And there's this band from my hometown called Menesia, and they're one of those bands that have developed really fast in the last, I think it's the last 1.5, 2 years. And they're going to be really good, I hope, because that's the way they are going. So the scene is very much alive, but it's very much different from what it used to be when I was a kid. So, but I fucking love it. I love seeing these young guys and girls playing music, and it feels good, because these are the people that are gonna, keep the tradition alive and still keep playing metal music. Because how long can you keep on playing blast beats and do what you do? It's there's going to be an expiration date someday. I don't see us playing this kind of music in 10 years, because that I'm going to be 60 and Para is going to be like 62 or something. So I don't see that, but at least we got at least 5 years more, I would say, maybe more. Who knows? But these guys, they got fucking 30 years to play.
Okay, nice. And one of the last question for this interview. So looking back, especially for this night, looking back in your history in 1992, you originally operated as Behemoth, as I said, before changing your name in 1994. Now, in 2026, do you still find yourself drawing inspiration from those early promotional demos, for example, like Ancient Kingdom?
Well, kind of, because I still got the same influences. Maybe on those two rehearsal demos that we did, it's more evident that there's a lot of Celtic Frost in some of those songs. And I'm not sure we have any Celtic Frost stuff on the new album, but we sure did have it on the 2 first ones, and probably on the 3rd one as well. But the influences that I have haven't changed at all. But of course, I've developed my own style of writing music through these 30 plus years. But I still enjoy, listening to those recordings. It's been a while now, but it's a certain era, and I can see that some of the riffs from those songs that was on the Behemoth tapes I still play in the same kind of way when I do chords on the guitar and do it like that. It's still the same style throughout all these years. So for close to 34 years now, I've had this pretty much the same style on certain things. And I still love those songs. A bunch of years ago, I was talking to the original vocalist on those tapes that maybe we should have done a re-recording of some of the songs just for fun, and see how it would sound. But we never did it, and now I don't think we're ever gonna do it. But it would have been a cool thing, just to see how it would sound with a proper studio recording. But at the same time, maybe you destroy the whole thing, because that was part of something back in the 90s, the black metal scene back in the 90s. And I think we would destroy everything nowadays if we were to record those songs again. So I don't even like, Exodus or Destruction re-recording their classics. And I wouldn't say these songs are classics, but you get what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. I completely understand. I understand. Well, David, we are right to the sad moment of this interview. Thank you for your time. It was a tremendous pleasure to talk with you. Well, about this new record, about the band and everything, and congratulations on this new one. As usual, it's a great one. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallerium followers?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to make this interview. It was a really good one. I liked the questions, and it feels good, to be back and have this album, and present it to everyone. And I truly, truly hope that the Latin Americans will love it, South America as well. And I hope that someone over there is going to try and book us and take us over so we can make some shows. I know you got some great festivals in Mexico, and I would love to come over and play. I know a lot of friends of mine from different bands have been over, and they all praise it. They say it's fucking fantastic, it's chaotic, and it's brutal, and the fans are maniacs, and I love that. I would love to see it myself, and I would love to shake their hands and just deliver what we do. So that's what I'm hoping for with this new album. Come over
Great.
and play for you.